Welcome to the Effortless English Show with the world's #1 English teacher, AJ Hoge, where AJ's more than 40 million students worldwide finally learn English once and for all, without the boring textbooks, classrooms, and grammar drills. Here's AJ with a quick piece to help you learn to speak fluent English effortlessly.
Hi, I'm AJ Hoge, the author of Effortless English. Learn to speak English like a native. It's time for you, yes you, to speak English powerfully, speak English fluently, speak English confidently. Think in English, not translating in your head, but thinking in English, so the words come out automatically. That's what it means to speak English effortlessly. It's the new year. Time for you to commit. You know you've got to commit to do this, right? It requires a commitment. Commitment. We're going to talk more about commitment today. This is one of the, what's connected to commitment, to commit, the verb, is connected to one of those hard virtues I was talking about in one of the more recent shows. I talked about the soft virtues of things like kindness and forgiveness and those things. And then I talked about the hard virtues, right? Strength and loyalty and determination and these other kinds of hard virtues. Well, commitment is a verb, and it means to decide, but it's stronger than just deciding, because it means to decide and then to do, to take action and to continue to take action. So it's a decision to not quit. It's a decision to keep going and going and going and going. So it's not a weak decision. It's a very, very, very strong decision. It means you put all of your energy and focus on this action you're going to do. And you're not going to quit. So commitment is connected to the virtue of determination, or we could call it persistence. Some might call it endurance, perseverance. These all have very similar meanings. They all mean to keep going, to not quit. They all have that idea. So commit, when you commit, we use it as a verb, to commit. It means you make that decision and then you keep your decision. You don't change your mind later. You make a strong decision and then you don't quit. So commitment is it's the starting action. I commit to doing this. It can be used as an adjective. You can say, I am committed. I am committed to this goal. I am committed to this goal means I have decided strongly to keep going, to not quit until I achieve this important goal. That's to be committed, using it as an adjective. So you've got to commit to my VIP program at effortlessenglishclub.com, effortlessenglishclub.com. Now, I used to say join my VIP program, join my course, join my pronunciation course. But joining's not enough. Because joining just means you start, right? Or I could say buy my course. But it's not the right idea, right? I mean, you can buy a book, you can buy a course, and then do nothing. Just never start, or start and then quit. You will not get results from that. Of course you know that. It's the same with exercise, right? You could join a gym. You can join a gym. That doesn't do anything. All that does is give you an opportunity. It gives you the opportunity to use their equipment or their classes. But just joining the gym will get no results at all. You have to commit every day, right? Every week and every month. And really, for your whole life, you've got to commit to exercising, to using that gym every day. Or maybe you're not a gym person. Maybe you prefer to run, so you buy some running shoes. Again, just buying the running shoes, that doesn't do anything. Just joining a gym is just the very beginning. It only gives you the opportunity, right? Or buying a book about strength training. These are all good ideas. They're nice first steps, right? So joining is a nice first step. Buying a program or a book or something to help you, that's a nice first step. But it's not enough. It's only the first step. It's only the beginning. The results come from commitment. When you commit, it's that powerful decision not just to start, but to finish. That's what this idea gives. To commit. You're committed to finishing. Going all the way. So if you join a marathon race, for example, it's 26.2 miles. And at the beginning of the race, you commit. You commit to finishing. It means you're not committed to just starting. You're not committed to just joining the race, signing up, paying your money, registering. No, that's not enough. You have to do that, but that's not enough. You're not committed to just starting and then maybe quitting after a couple miles. No, you're committed to the finish. You're going to make it to the finish line. You're going to keep going, and if your leg starts to hurt, if all your energy drops, you're going to keep going anyway. Even if you have to walk, you're going to keep going because you have that total commitment. You're committed. That's the kind of decision you need for success in anything important, anything difficult. And so that's why now I always say, commit to my VIP program. You've got to commit to it. You got to use it daily, weekly, monthly, and you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. Just like a marathon. You keep going. Every mile, you get closer to the finish line. Every month, you improve with your English, but you're committed to finishing your goal, and you're not going to quit. So join at effortlessenglishclub.com, but more importantly, commit to my VIP program at effortlessenglishclub.com. Now, this is not only just about exercise. It's not only just about my VIP program or Youre English or whatever. This is about life. This is an important virtue. One of those very, very, very important virtues. I believe, my feeling from my life experience is this one is one of the very strongest virtues. And as I said, I used many different words to describe this virtue. Determination. Persistence is one I use a lot. Persistence. Let's use that one today. But, you can call it persistence. You can call it determination. Commitment. Kind of. But it's basically not quitting. Some people will call it endurance. Endurance is the noun. The verb, the action, is to endure. To endure. Now, endurance has a nice extra feeling. To endure means, again, it has the same idea that you keep going, and you don't quit. But endurance has kind of the extra feeling of continuing even when you're in pain, even when you're suffering, even when you're tired. If we say, "Oh, I need to endure this situation," we don't say that about easy situations. We don't say that about pleasure. "Oh, I have to endure this massage," Right? If you said that, if you're getting a massage, you get on a table and someone gives you a massage, right? They're massaging your back. And then you said to someone, you said to the person doing the massage, you say, I need to endure this. Well, that would immediately give the idea that the massage was painful, that it was causing you pain and you were having to fight, to not quit, to not get up. Because if it's pleasant, if it's just soft and relaxing, then you don't need to endure it. You just, there's no virtue, right? It's easy. You don't need to have any willpower or strength. You don't need endurance for easy things. Endurance is something you need to keep going when life is tough, when things are difficult. This is why we call that kind of fitness, even with exercise, right? We have endurance exercises, endurance sports. Those are long distance events, right? Those are sports which go for a long, long, long time. So we call it endurance because if you're competing, if you're trying to push yourself and go hard or fast, well, it's very difficult. It's painful, and you have to keep going for a long time. Or you can do a sprint. That's a fast run, running your fastest, running 100%, your highest speed. You can only do that for 20 to 40 seconds, something like that. Maybe a minute. That's all. So it's not really endurance. Yes, your legs will hurt, but it's over very fast. So for sprinters, usually you can just go out there and sprint for 30 seconds, and you'll feel some tiredness and pain, but most of the pain comes when you stop. After you cross the finish line, then you're like, oh, right? Because it's so intense, it's so short that you don't really feel the need to quit, at least normally. So it's not an endurance race. On the other hand, a marathon is an endurance race because even for a top professional, world-class runners do their, it's like under 2 hours. So they're running over an hour and a half, an hour. I can't remember what the world record is for a marathon, but it's basically just under 2 hours for a lot of the top level runners. That's a long time to be running hard, up and down hills, racing against other people who are trying to beat you so you can't relax. And it keeps going and going and going, not 30 seconds, not 1 minute, but for hours. Up to, close to 2 hours. And for non-professional runners, people who are not professionals, well, then it's usually closer to 3 hours for still a very good athlete. And for regular people like me and others, and probably closer to 4 hours to finish a marathon. 4 hours of pushing yourself, going and going and going. And with something that long and difficult, definitely the hardest thing becomes to just keep going. That's the battle as it gets longer and longer and longer. The battle in your mind, it's not really the body, it's the mind, starts wanting to quit. Because if you have pain in your legs for a sprint, that's no big deal, right? Your legs, there's some pain for maybe 30 seconds. No big deal. Maybe even less than that. So you can handle it. But pain for 3 hours is a lot more difficult, right? When your knees hurt, your legs hurt, your energy is dropped, you're feeling horrible and terrible, and you still have 1 more hour to run. That's when you need that endurance, mental endurance, and of course physical endurance too. You train your body so it can go longer and longer. So it's a nice word, endurance. It's also a virtue. It's a kind of strength, right? There's with our physical bodies, we have strength. You could call it pure strength. That's the ability to lift up something very heavy, right? to move heavy things. And then we have endurance. That's the ability to go longer, long time working your body, exercising your body for longer and longer and longer and longer. But these are also kinds of virtues, mental virtues. Some could say even spiritual virtues. These physical ideas of strength and endurance are also connected to something in our minds. So we have mental strength. Right? We also use strength to describe someone. He's a strong person. So that's someone who can handle very tough, stressful, intense situations. And they don't panic. They don't run away from fear. And we also have this idea of endurance, mental endurance. And that's someone who doesn't quit. Right? That's someone who has, we have other words we can use, determination, persistence. But right, these are the people, maybe they're not as strong. Right? Maybe they're not as tough in the moment, in a short moment, but they don't quit. So maybe they're not so strong. They have a problem in life, and maybe in the beginning, they make mistakes. Maybe for a while, they're losing. They're making mistakes. They're not getting better. They're having a hard time in life, and they're not as strong. They don't have this, great super mental power that they can use very suddenly to just overcome their problems, to overcome competition. But they have something else, endurance, persistence. And they do eventually overcome their problems. They do eventually win. They do eventually get better and better and better and better. They do eventually beat their competition. They do it over time. They do it because they refuse to quit. They just keep going and going and going and going. And they will endure mistakes and mistakes and mistakes. They'll endure failure and failure and failure and failure. They will endure criticism and more criticism and more criticism and more criticism. They'll endure competition. They'll endure enemies lying about them, stealing, cheating. They'll endure bad luck. But they just don't quit. They just keep going and going and going. And that is a super virtue for life. I think that one's actually a more powerful than just strength. It is very, very hard to beat somebody like that in the long term. These people are focused on the long term. This is a virtue that is focused on the long term. They keep going when they're tired. They keep going when they're in pain. They keep going when they have doubts. They keep going when they're losing. They keep going when they're failing. Now, the perfect movie example of this is Rocky, right? The Rocky movies with Sylvester Stallone. That's exactly the kind of character Rocky Balboa is. So that's why people love that character so much, because that's exactly him. He's not the smartest guy. He's definitely not the best boxer, right? He's not the fastest. He's not the best one. He doesn't have the most skill. In all the Rocky movies, the guys he's fighting against are more skilled. They're more skillful, right? Remember Apollo Creed in the first two movies? He was faster. He was more skillful. He was a better boxer. Just overall, a better boxer. And Clubber Lang, Mr. T, same thing. Much, much, much stronger than Rocky. And in the other movies, the same thing. His opponent in those movies, everyone he fights, they're always better than him. They're better fighters than him. So what is his superpower? Why is Rocky such a great character? How does he win? He has more endurance. Right? There's I think it's, can't remember which one it is. I think it's the movie named Rocky Balboa. I think that might be number 5, maybe. But he gives a great speech about this. There's a scene, it's a famous scene, you'll see it on YouTube a lot, where it's Rocky talking to his son. And his son is complaining. His son is young, and he's a young guy, and he's, complaining about life's not fair, and, kind of whining a little bit, like a lot of us do sometimes. And Rocky gives him a speech, and Rocky basically tells him life's not fair, and he tells him life is tough, and the secret to success in life is to keep going. It's not being the strongest. It's not being the smartest. It's that you can take the most blows, right? You can, as a fighter, someone can hit you and hit you and hit you and hit you, but you still keep going. Or in life, you can take the punishment, right? The bad luck, the failures, the difficulties, but you won't stop. You just keep getting up and fighting again, getting up and fighting again, getting up and fighting again. And that's how you succeed. It's this kind of idea of, we have a phrase in English called grim determination. Grim determination. So again, determination is this idea of it's kind of like a committed mindset, right? Determination. It's close to commitment. When you have determination, it means like you have a strong decision and desire and strong willpower to do something. You have this persistence, this decision to not quit. We add the word grim in front of it. Grim. Grim. You'll hear this phrase, grim determination. He has grim determination. Now this is grim itself is kind of a little bit of a negative word, has a little bit of a negative feeling, but the phrase is very positive. Grim is the opposite of happy and cheerful. It's the opposite of cheerful. That's a better opposite. So grim does not mean sad, but it just means not cheerful, right? Not smiling, not laughing, not cheerful. Super serious. That's grim. Right? It's grim is the idea of just, serious with no happiness or laughter or fun. So if you describe a person, he's very grim, that's not a very good description, right? You get the idea this is not a happy person. But this phrase is great, grim determination, because grim determination is the idea of this kind of determination, this kind of persistence, this kind of endurance that does not need excitement. It does not depend on being super excited. It's a stronger kind of determination because it's more just serious and it's this idea like Rocky that it doesn't matter if I win. It doesn't matter if I get good luck. It doesn't matter how many times I fall. It doesn't matter how much I get hit. I'm going to keep going and going and going. I'm not smiling about it. I'm not laughing about it because nothing can stop me. Doesn't matter my emotions, right? That's why it's such a strong phrase, grim determination, because it's the idea that you have this endurance, this commitment, this persistence that will not change moment to moment. It doesn't matter if you wake up in the morning and you feel happy or sad. It doesn't matter if your mood is good or bad, up or down. Doesn't matter if your energy's high today or low tomorrow. When you have that grim determination, it doesn't matter. It's not dependent, right? It does not depend on some feeling that changes all the time. It's something deeper and stronger and more powerful. Grim determination. And that's what you see in those Rocky movies, right? Because Rocky gets beat up in those movies. Like the first two movies, right? Apollo Creed just beats him up and hits him, constantly hitting him. Rocky, of course, hits back, but Rocky's eye is huge, really big and bloody, and he takes a lot of beating in the movies. But he just keeps going and going and going and going and going anyway. He's got that grim determination, that toughness. Another way to describe this is that you refuse to be defeated. You'll notice a lot of people who are like this, who have this kind of virtue of determination and endurance. They have a belief, an idea that they can never be defeated. They in their mind, they have a difference in their mind, the two words, defeat and losing. So a lot of people think those two words mean the same thing. To lose and to be defeated. A lot of people, well, it's exactly the same thing, right? And it's true in the media, you see the words used almost the same, right? This team defeated the other team. Or this guy beat the other guy. Or this guy lost to the other guy. But many times you'll find people who have this a mindset, a belief, an idea that I might lose, but I can never be defeated. I might lose, but no one can defeat me. And this idea that they have is that, losing is a temporary thing. Losing is just in the moment. It happens. Everybody loses. Right? Even the greatest sports teams, they lose sometimes. But to be defeated is something that is internal. It's inside of you. It's a feeling of quitting. It's a feeling that you're quitting. You're giving up. So that's what they mean when they say, I might lose. Okay, maybe the other guy's better than me. Or at least on this day. Maybe they score more points, they do a better job, whatever. Maybe they have more skill. So I might lose, that happens in life, but I cannot be defeated. That means that even if I lose, inside I'm still strong. Inside I'm still determined. Inside I'm not quitting. I'm going to get up again and keep going. Keep fighting. I'll never stop fighting for what's important in my life. That's what people mean when they say, you can beat me, but you cannot defeat me. I might lose, but I cannot be defeated. It means I might lose, I might have bad results sometimes that I don't like, but you cannot break me inside. Inside I stay strong. Inside I am still committed. I have that endurance. I have that determination, that grim determination. So Rocky was like that. In the first movie, he loses the fight, but he's not defeated. If we think of it with this idea, right? Rocky, in fact, does much better. No one expects him to even finish the fight. His goal is just to finish the fight. He's fighting against the champion of the world. He's a nobody. So no one in the world thinks he can win. Even he realizes probably I can't win, but I will not be defeated, right? I will not let Apollo Creed, I will not let him defeat me, knock me out. I will not quit. No matter how much he hits me, no matter how much he beats me, I am going to keep going and I'm going to finish the whole fight. He'll never defeat me. Such a powerful mindset in life because it helps you get through because life is hard. And guess what? Yes, you are going to lose in life sometimes. We all do. You can look at any sport, like, it doesn't matter if it's individual sports or team sports. You can choose the greatest soccer team in the world. Or, let's say American football. The best team for the last 10 years and professional is the New England Patriots. Okay, everybody agrees that it's obvious they've been the best team for probably 10 years, maybe more than 10 years, probably 15 years. They've been the best team. They're in the championship game, the Super Bowl again this year. But they lose games sometimes. They don't win the championship every year. Some years they're not the champion. They're the best, but they're still not undefeated. They do lose games, right? The best soccer teams, they still lose games sometimes. The best fighters, they'll eventually, even in boxing and MMA, they lose. And in life, it's the same exact thing. You're going to lose. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have bad luck. All of those things are going to happen to you. Sometimes it seems like it happens a lot. And sometimes, maybe things go well and life seems easier. But overall, there are always going to be losses and mistakes and failures. That's not a problem, but the problem is when you then have this internal feeling of being defeated. You give up, you quit inside, you break emotionally. Right? We all know the difference, right? Some people, unfortunately a lot of people nowadays, the first time they have a failure or a defeat, they just quit and they stop trying and they just never try again. I've seen this with some people in business. I've tried to help some people maybe start a business, and they'll start and they'll try the first time, maybe with their first product or their first service or their first business, and it's not successful. It's not very successful. Maybe it's only a little successful. It doesn't do very well. It kind of fails. At least they fail to meet the goal. But they don't have that endurance. They don't have that virtue of determination or persistence. So they think, the first bad thing that happens, the first failure, and they just quit. This sucks. Oh, it's not as easy as I thought. Oh, it didn't work. And they just quit and they're done and they never try again. That's defeat. Now, you're not like this. I know you're not like this with English because you're listening to me and you understand me. So I know you've been doing this for many years. But you probably know people like this, right? With their English, maybe they'll try something. Maybe you get excited, you tell them about Effortless English, and they'll try for 1 month or even a few days. And then they don't get instant results. Maybe it's a little difficult for them. Things aren't perfect. Things are challenging. They have some problems, some difficulties, and they just quit. And they're done. They're defeated by just the first little failures, the first little bits of challenge. They don't have that virtue of endurance and determination, persistence. For most important things in life, the endurance is more important than strength. Strength is helpful. It's a good virtue to have, to be a strong person, physically strong and mentally strong. It's definitely a good virtue. However, without endurance, your strength will not help you very much, because eventually in life you will go against a situation or another person or other people who are stronger than you. Right? You're not the strongest person in the world. Eventually, something, nature, or other people will be stronger. Then what do? If you have no endurance, then you just quit. We have to stay in the fight like Rocky. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you're getting beaten and beaten and beaten. And sometimes it's frustrating and frustrating and frustrating. You just stay in the fight. So much about life and success in life is just don't quit. It's even better when you have that grim determination, so that in the middle of difficult times and situations, you kind of get tougher. Something inside you just gets a little harder, a little tougher, and you're just, and it almost motivates you to keep going. You almost enjoy it. This is the highest level. This is the highest level. The highest level eventually happens with endurance as you get better and better and better with endurance. As you build your endurance, your persistence, you will often reach a level, the highest level of this virtue, where you begin to love it. You begin to enjoy the difficulty. You begin to enjoy the struggle. You want that because you realize it makes you tougher. It makes you stronger. It makes you think more. You learn from it. You start to like it. As a runner, runners will talk about this all the time, that runner's high. New runners don't feel high. They feel miserable, usually, right? Usually it's not so great. But that runner's high comes from, it's after you develop your endurance and you're working, your body is getting more and more tough. You're getting more and more of that endurance, physical and mental. And then you hit a point where suddenly, sometimes on some runs, you're just going, and then your body's working very hard, you're running hard and fast, and then suddenly it all just feels right. You just feel this pleasure. It's that effortless effort we talk about sometimes, that Taoist idea, effortless effort. You're definitely making a big effort, a strong effort with your body. You're sweating and using a lot of energy, maybe even feeling some pain in your legs, some tiredness, but there's something emotionally where it starts to feel effortless. It starts to, more than feel effortless, it feels good. You start to enjoy the struggle. Weightlifters will develop this too, where they start to enjoy that pain, that burn in their muscles. Usually people are starting, they don't like it. It doesn't feel so good, but people who've been lifting weights a long time, they like it. Because again, they start to connect that feeling of struggle and even pain, they connect it to getting stronger. The struggle, the focus, the mental determination. They start to enjoy that grim determination. There are fighters like this in different martial arts. They'll almost enjoy getting hit. It seems weird. I know it sounds strange, but there are some, especially like boxers and those strikers, who will use getting hit to get tougher. They get hit and you'll see them almost smile and and it just makes them more motivated. Those are dangerous fighters, and it's not fun to fight them. Ultimately, if you want to be very philosophical about this, in martial arts, especially in the kind of philosophy of some of the martial arts, and I mean both Western martial arts, like real martial arts, like sword fighting and like the old Romans and Greeks and knights and things like that. And also, of course, in the East, Kung Fu and karate and jiu-jitsu and rest, all these things, all over the world. You'll find this idea, if you read enough about it. You'll find again and again and again an idea usually from the masters, the highest, the champions, the high-level people, the veterans. You'll find that they will begin to talk about their opponents in a way where they feel like They love their opponents. Because they begin to realize they want their opponents, right? The competition, the other guy who's fighting them. They want them to be strong, not weak, right? A lot of us kind of normal people, if we go to have a boxing match or we have a tournament, kind of probably secretly we're hoping, oh, the other guy's not as good as me, right? Because then I'll win. I want to go fight a guy. I want to go get in the ring and fight that guy. Hopefully I'm better than him. Right? That's a normal thought. Okay, I understand it. I certainly felt that way in my jiu-jitsu tournament and back when I was a kid in karate. Same idea. But eventually, the really good guys, many of them will have the opposite idea. They want their opponent to be the very best because that's the only way they can become the best, right? It's the only way they can be challenged enough. That's how they get better. They get better by going against the best, by fighting the best. And sometimes they lose. They don't want weak opponents because weak opponents will not help them get stronger. Weak opponents will not test them. Weak opponents don't make them better fighters. Only strong opponents do that. And sometimes it means losing and having to figure out, oh no, that other guy, he found one of my weaknesses. How do I improve this? What can I do? Right? It pushes them, it motivates them to get better, to train harder. And some of them like that. They respect the opponent. Some of them will even, write about, the opponent and I are one. Because without the opponent, I'm not a fighter. You can take that same idea from sports, from martial arts. You can see kind of how that's obvious. And you can think of all of life like that. You can think of all of life's difficulties and problems in the same way. Eventually, again, this is the highest level. It's very normal for all of us in difficult situations that we wish they were less difficult. Or if we're starting a goal, it's very normal that we hope the goal is not difficult. We hope it'll be easy. Or we hope we're going to be better. If we have a business competition, we hope our business is better than the other person's. Or if we're dating, we hope we're better than the other guy who wants the same girl. Or, that kind of thing. That's normal. That's normal. And again, it's kind of the first normal level. But the highest level is where you hope the opposite. Where you learn from life experience that, no, I don't want everything to be easy. That makes me weak. I don't learn from that. I don't become a better person facing easy things, facing easy problems, facing easy struggles, facing easy opponents, even facing easy enemies. I become more wise, more strong, more powerful, a better person, more skillful, more determined and persistent by facing the toughest problems, the toughest opponents, the toughest situations, or at least tougher. When you reach that level, that's when you actually begin to enjoy failure sometimes. Some people can't understand this. I've talked about it before, about, failure can be great. Sometimes you can enjoy failure. A lot of successful people will talk about this. How failure is important. Failure is good. Fail faster. Right? Fail faster, succeed sooner. That's a famous phrase. But a lot, many times on social media, people will, or sometimes on my live videos, people will say, "Oh, that's crazy. That's stupid." No, it's not. Because people who say that are at that higher level. They realize that, no, I learn a lot by failing. You can succeed by just doing super easy things all the time, never challenging yourself, never really getting stronger. That's how you can succeed all the time. Never do anything difficult. Then you will always succeed. Just do tiny little things all the time. Never push yourself in any way. Okay, then you have success all the time, but you're weak. You're not smarter. You're not better. You don't develop determination. You don't become a better person. On the other hand, if you push yourself, and you face more and more difficult problems, and you take risks, and you face difficult opponents if you're having a competition, you're going to lose sometimes. You absolutely will lose. You absolutely will fail. Because you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort, outside of your skill, outside of your knowledge and ability. And that means, yeah, you're going to fall down. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. But then you can learn to enjoy that process because you realize, I just learned something. This is an opportunity to get tougher, to be more determined. This is an opportunity to train my endurance. This is an opportunity to find one of my weaknesses, to realize, I have this weak point. I need to change it. And so you can actually enjoy that process. You can. I promise you can learn to enjoy the process of failing, at least in some areas of your life. And that's great because then the failures, then you fail, it doesn't really bother you emotionally anymore. You just kind of shrug your shoulders and learn from it, and you get back up like Rocky. It's just like Rocky in the movies, right? He gets hit in the face like hundreds of times. It doesn't really bother him hardly. Right? He doesn't cry about it every time he gets hit in the face. He gets knocked down several times in the fight. He doesn't cry about it. He doesn't complain. He doesn't quit. He just gets up and keeps going forward again. Just kind of shakes his head and keeps going. You can learn a lot from that. We all can. We can all develop this. Again, when I teaching this, these are always things I'm working on too. Some areas of my life I have pretty good endurance, pretty good determination. And I do indeed enjoy the process, including the failures and the challenge. And other areas of my life, I'm, more of a wimp, more of a normal person. And when something bad happens, I complain and whine. And in those areas, I need to develop this virtue more. So this is also something you can look at in your own life, that sometimes in different areas of our life, we have a stronger or weaker virtue. We might have this great endurance and commitment in our marriage or our relationship, but then in our financial life, maybe not so much. That's okay. That's actually sometimes a good situation because you can learn. You can look at the area of your life where you have a virtue, and then it's easier to say, well, okay, I'm already can do this. I just need to do it in this other area of life. It's kind of easier to transfer it to other parts of your life if you can already do it in one area. So if you don't have any endurance, if in general you just quit, you're a quitter. You're always quitting everything. Just focus on one thing. Don't try to develop endurance in every part of your life suddenly, all at once, all at one time. Instead, I think it's better, just pick one area of your life and train your endurance in that one area. It might just be physical. I sometimes the simplest thing to do is work on your body, build your physical endurance, do some kind of endurance sport, cycling, swimming, running, triathlon. Those are the common ones. Those will start to teach you mental endurance also, especially if you push yourself, if you enter some races and really make it kind of difficult. And then as you develop that ability with your body in this physical sport, then you will start to figure out how to use that same mindset, that same determination and endurance. You can start to use it in other parts of your life too. So you can be excited about the fight. You can enjoy it. You can enjoy the struggle. This is one of life's greatest virtues. Determination, persistence. Develop it. You will achieve great things in your life, in many different areas of life, when you develop this ability. Be like Rocky Balboa. And commit to my VIP program. Commit to my VIP program to speak English fluently, to speak English powerfully, to think in English, to speak English effortlessly. You've got to commit to my VIP program today at effortlessenglishclub.com. That's effortlessenglishclub.com. Go now to effortlessenglishclub.com.